Battle Shounen. Probably the most iconic genre of anime out there. Hey, what's good, gamers? This is Doran here, and today I'm gonna be ranking Battle Shounen anime in the top 10. So, before starting this video, I would like to just make some things clear. So, first of all, this is all just my opinion in the end of the day, and you don't have to agree with it. Hey, actually, let me know yours in the comments below. And other than that, so I would like to make this list in terms of Battle Shounen anime. So it's not just shonen anime that are about battling. I would like to emphasize on the battle bit in Battle Shounen. So what I mean by that is that the battles have to be the magnum opus in that anime. So although One Piece is a pretty great anime, I will not be listing that inside of this because the world building and story are the more pronounced aspects of One Piece as a series in contrast to something like, let's say, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Anyways, without further ado, let's begin this list. So at number 10 we have Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star. What an icon. So, a lot of you may or may not know about Kenshiro by now. He's the guy who's behind the Omaiwa Motion meme. But anyways, other than that, Fist of the North Star is one of the more pioneering anime in this genre because it's what led to the establishment of and inspired a lot of other series in the genre. And yep, Fist of the North Star also includes Hamon, which was also a system that JoJo took inspiration from later on, and Fist of the North Star also has a lot of the iconic battles in anime that still are talked about today, although they are more buried up now since a lot of the more popular series have taken the spotlight. But anyways, regardless of that, Fist of the North Star is a very important series in this genre, and if not for this, we would not have Battle Shonen and the structure we have it today, and it's pretty great. So yeah, at number 10 is Fist of the North Star. Pretty old, but it has aged pretty well, regardless of the older art style. Anyways, let's move on to number 9. At number 9 we have Hajime no Ippo. So Ippo's fights are really great in the sense that they involve a lot of lessons that can be applied to real life, and hey, it's one of the more realistic battle shonens out there. Actually, it is pretty much realistic in every sense of the word, and the power system as well, real life itself. But yep, fights in Hajime no Ippo are really intense and really gravitate the emotional atmosphere around it, and we have great icons in it like Takamura, who is a great champ and really inspiring as a character. So yeah, Hajime no Ippo is probably the more overlooked anime out there regardless of its high rating, and I highly do implore that you check it out. It's actually a masterpiece and probably one of the only anime I will rate a 10 out of 10. Next up we have Hitman Reborn. So like you already know that we have the big three. Sometimes people like to spread the term and make it a big five, where they would include Dragon Ball and often Hitman Reborn with it, and rightfully so. So Hitman Reborn does take a bit of time to build up in the story, like 3 episodes or so, but when it does pick up really great. So yeah, although it takes 3 minutes to get 3 episodes to get good, it's still pretty great shonen out there, and the fights are really great, and Suna as a character is a very great protagonist, as he's a more introverted protagonist in contrast to the more overhype and also hyper characters like Goku, Luffy, and Naruto, etc. etc. Alright, then let's move on to number 7. At number 7 we have Jujutsu Kaisen, which is probably the only new gen in this list, to be honest, and rightfully so though, because Jujutsu Kaisen has a really well established power system and has a lot of great characters and fights that do involve a lot of strategy, although I would say that the arcs of Jujutsu Kaisen do take some time to pick up, although the fights are really great in Jujutsu Kaisen, and it does go to show that regardless of how much times have changed, shonen has not flopped, and Jujutsu Kaisen is, in my opinion, a great representation of that. Anyways, let's move on to number 6. So at number 6 we have Bleach. So Bleach is probably the most highest rated anime on my anime list other than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. But anyways, Bleach is one of those series that did make a drastic comeback, and Bleach does take a lot of shine for its fights, as well as its characters. So the blue fights in Bleach are really great in the sense that they make use of Zanpakutos, which are personification of the characters themselves, and battles are used as a catalyst to express those personalities and the contrasting personalities the characters have, and it does that beautifully so, and people often overlook that, but I think it's pretty great. Hell, even the filler arcs in Bleach are great. The Zanpakuto arc is one of the best filler arcs out there, although to balance things out, Bleach also has one of the worst filler arcs there is, that being the Bound arc. Regardless of that though, regardless of the insurmountable amount of filler that Bleach has, or rather the percentage of filler Bleach has, since Naruto has more filler, but anyways, regardless of the filler, Bleach has been a pretty great series, and the fights in Bleach are pretty great, and the expression used in the Zanpakutos and the usage of Zanpakuto to express the character's personality is a great idea, and it's carried out pretty well on top of that. Anyways, let's move on to number 5, and at number 5 we have Noragami, which is also a great series, and it's actually pretty similar to Bleach in the sense that the weapons in Noragami are, well, the weapons in Noragami are pretty much just characters who are reincarnated as the weapons of the gods, but yeah, it takes the idea of giving the characters the weapon a personality, giving the sword personality to another level, and it does that really wonderfully. And not only that, it also touches on themes such as holism and how everything is interconnected, and the battles in Noragami are really great, and the ass pulls in Noragami, although there are very few, Noragami is one of those shows that manages to pull its ass pulls really well. And although I would like to mention it, I would rather not spoil the show for you, those of you who have not seen it, and not to mention that Noragami also has probably one of the best openings in anime. Anyways, let's move on to number 4. At number 4 we have Hunter x Hunter, hailed by almost everyone as the best shonen of all time, the best battle shonen of all time, although that is a really deserving title for Hunter x Hunter, as it's one of the few anime that does a lot of things well, and not to mention that there's a great amount of episodes for it too, and it has 148 episodes with 2 filler episodes which are just recaps, but yeah, the pacing is really great, and Meruem versus Netero later on is a pretty great fight, but yeah, Nen is a pretty great power system, and the battles in Hunter x Hunter are really tactical and strategic, and Togashi manages to really carry this out. Although I would like to mention that I would have put Yu Yu Hakusho so yeah, I was really contemplating whether I should put Hunter x Hunter or Yu Yu Hakusho here, but I decided to go with Hunter x Hunter since these two series do follow the Togashi patterns, and they are both great. Anyways, though, regardless of that, Hunter x Hunter deserves the spot in the top 5. Let's move on to number 3. So at number 3 we have Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Oh boy, the anime that has been number 1 on my anime list since the beginning of time. But anyways, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is also a great anime. Not to mention that the anime Brotherhood anyways managed to compress the manga, which was also a masterpiece, into just 64 episodes and condense the size of it. This is something remarkable, but regardless, Full Metal Alchemist has really great fights, and fights in Full Metal Alchemist really do carry the emotional gravitas, and the emotional atmosphere in the Full Metal Alchemist world is really great, and the alchemy as a system is really great too. It's a more urban fantasy-ish power system, and that's the great thing about it. And it's the way Edward and other characters like Ryan Mustang use alchemy to counter their opponents is really great. Not to mention it also has some of the best fights in anime of all time. And not to mention, it seizes the perfect opportunities to display those fights. This is something that's really remarkable about Full Metal Alchemist. And I do think, although Hunter x Hunter is pretty much great as well, I prefer Full Metal Alchemist over Hunter x Hunter, particularly because Full Metal Alchemist touches on themes like holism really well. Although I would say that Hunter x Hunter and Full Metal Alchemist are pretty great series, both of them. Anyways, let's move on to number 2. Oh boy, this anime is hated a lot nowadays, but anyways, at number 2 we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Well, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is pinnacle battle shonen in every sense of the word. it's literally the best part about JoJo is its fights, and because JoJo fights are really tactical and brain teasers and make use of the viewer not watching their surroundings, and when the character notices something in their surrounding, they make use of that and employ a very ready strategy to take down their opponents in very difficult situations. And not to mention, like Noragami, JoJo is also something that really pulls its pulls really well, and when it does, they do pay off. Although the manga had part 5 and 6 poorly translated, the anime made up for that later on. Anyways, JoJo's is a pretty great series, particularly part 7, although that's not really shonen and hasn't been adapted yet. But yeah, JoJo's is also a pioneering anime in this genre. Anyways, let's move on to number 1. Finally, actually before number 1, here are a few honorable mentions. So we have Rurouni Kenshin as our first honorable mention. Sadly, Rurouni Kenshin had a lot of filler, and since this is an anime list and not a manga list, yeah, that is a sad thing. Although the newer anime has been doing pretty well recently, and the manga of it is also pretty well decent. Although Rurouni Kenshin does has its flaws here and there, it's a pretty great series and was pretty close to making my top 10. Also, next up we have Dragon Ball. Oh boy, it's the most iconic battle shonen out there, although sadly I will say though that although Dragon Ball has perhaps the best fights in battle shonen, what keeps it down slightly is that the fact not only have other anime really surpassed Dragon Ball, but also the fact that Dragon Ball has been falling off slowly, with Dragon Ball Super being canon and the later half of Z really being or slowed down. Although I will say that Dragon Ball is still one of my favorite anime out there. And lastly, we have Yu Yu Hakusho. Like I discussed earlier, Yu Yu Hakusho is a pretty great series, and if I had to put any anime in place of Hunter x Hunter, I would have placed Yu Yu Hakusho there, since it does carry a lot of themes from both Bleach and Hunter x Hunter. Since the inspiration from Hunter x Hunter comes from the obvious fact that Togashi is the author of both. Yeah, and in the case of Bleach, they both have a similar plot structure. And yeah, there's also some inspiration from Naruto, but that's something for another day. Anyways, let's move on to number 1. So at number 1 we have World Trigger. Yep, a very slept on gem of an anime. World Trigger is probably the best battle shonen in the sense that it's very similar to both JoJo's and Hunter x Hunter, and the things that make those shows great also makes World Trigger great in the sense that it does have a simplistic yet still complex power system, and the characters employ really witty strategies against each other and adapt in the moment, and they make use of their tactics by observing stuff in their surroundings and thinking stuff that their opponent would not have expected. So yeah, World Trigger is really slapped on, and I don't even know why the Animalist rating of World Trigger fall down so much. But yeah, the second season has a pretty decent rating, so yeah, I suggest checking out World Trigger. So anyways guys, thank you. I'm gonna wrap up this video. Thank you all for watching so much, and if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe. Anyways, this has been Doring, and I'm gonna be signing out. Peace guys, take care, love you all.